Wait, did Cameron just go too far? The leaked video may have ruined his decades-long relationship with Jim Jones, and this time, it's not a publicity stunt. A video of Chrissy Lampkin, private and totally unfit for public consumption, has surfaced. But here's the part that has insiders pointing fingers directly at Cameron. Jim isn't keeping quiet anymore. It's exploding across all platforms, releasing decades of pent-up resentment. And now, it's not just about the video anymore. We're talking about backroom deals, missed opportunities, and a brotherhood that may have always been a lie. Was this a petty move gone wrong? Or a calculated betrayal meant to humiliate Jim in the dirtiest way possible? Don't blink, don't scroll, and most definitely, don't click away. If you've ever watched two kings turn into enemies in real time, this isn't just a breakup, it's the demolition of Dipset. And believe me, what you're about to hear will forever alter your perception of Cameron. You would think that after all these years of street brotherhood, Dipset loyalty, and a joint ascent to hip-hop royalty, there would be some sort of unwritten boundary Cameron wouldn't dare cross. But apparently loyalty dies in silence. Because what happened isn't just betrayal, it's nuclear. Let's go back in time. It all began with a leak. But this was not just any leak. It was personal, graphic, and emotionally offensive. A private video of Chrissy Lampkin, Jim Jones's longtime partner, ride or die, and a highly esteemed matriarch figure, appeared unexpectedly on a dubious burner Twitter account, with no followers, no tags, and no captions. The uncut, raw video was dropped like a digital bomb on the internet timeline. Initially, people believed it to be a deepfake. Then, they assumed it was old footage. But within hours, Chrissy's face was trending, and the internet did what it does best, went into detective mode. Edits began to appear, TikTok reactions went viral, and Twitter was already saying Cam did it, before anyone could verify or refute the clip's authenticity. Now, why would Cameron release such a video? What could he possibly stand to gain by revealing something so private? Was it retaliation? Spite? Or is there something more sinister simmering beneath the surface of their supposed fraternal bond? Let's take a moment to review history. This wasn't the first instance of conflict between Cam and Jim. See, Dipset was never as perfect as it looked from the outside. There was constant rivalry over who actually led the crew. Cameron, the charismatic mastermind, or Jim Jones, the heart and street muscle behind the bandanas and flashy visuals. As their empire grew, the flaws became impossible to ignore. There were brief, subtle jabs in interviews, passive-aggressive verses, cryptic Instagram stories, and then explosive moments like the infamous 2017 Hot 97 interview, where Cam aired out financial betrayals and internal drama that left fans stunned. But the core Dipset audience? They knew. This was a wound that would never fully heal. Now, in 2025, we're back in that trauma. But this time, it's not music. It's Chrissy. It's family. What's worse is the history between Chrissy and Cameron. If you recall the early 2000s, Chrissy wasn't just Jim's partner. She was a shrewd businesswoman making major moves. But there were constant rumors that Cam never liked her influence on Jim. Some even claimed Cam tried to persuade Jim to leave her so he could focus on music and be less domesticated. Back then, it sounded like harmless barbershop talk. Looking back, it might have been the seed of silent, simmering resentment that grew for decades. Now, with just one leak, Cam might have detonated it all. Sources close to the matter, speaking anonymously for their own protection, claimed that the video was recorded more than 10 years ago, capturing a private moment that was never meant for public eyes. But for some reason, it was. And this is where things get suspicious. According to one insider, Cam and Jim were seen together at a Rock Nation brunch just days before the leak. What's even more alarming, the video was stored on a now-defunct Dipset hard drive that only a select few had access to. And allegedly, Cam took that hard drive when the crew split in the mid-2010s. Jim Jones didn't stay silent for long. Less than 24 hours after the video went viral, Jim posted a black screen to his Instagram story with just these words, "I see you." Fans went into a frenzy. If this leak came from Cam's camp, was it premeditated? Was he playing nice at brunch while planning to drop a bomb? The real clapback came on Instagram Live. In a raw, unfiltered live stream that pulled in over 120,000 viewers in minutes, Jim let loose. No script, no PR team, just rage and heartbreak. "I don't care what you guys say. This man been jealous of me since day one," Jim spat into the camera. The comments exploded. "It's Cam. He did it." Jim went solo. But Jim didn't stop there. This the same man who denied me tour money in 2011. He ain't trustworthy. "Touch family? You don't play with my woman. That video wasn't sent by accident. It was meant to hurt me." The comment section was ablaze with emojis. Viewers were in tears. Even longtime Dipset fans were choosing sides. This wasn't just a personal betrayal anymore. It was a public declaration of war. "This crew killed me. And now you want dirt on Chrissy? You're a clown. A whole clown." At this point, the internet ignited. Think pieces, podcast segments, Twitter spaces. Everyone was asking the same thing. Did Cameron go too far? Or is Jim being too sentimental? But Cam's silence only made it worse. And then came the final blow. Chrissy Lampkin, known for staying 10 toes down in every storm, made a rare public move. She unfollowed Cameron on all platforms, archived every photo featuring him, and posted a mysterious caption. We all knew this was more than just a beef. It was betrayal at the soul level. And just when things couldn't get any worse, an anonymous source revealed something even more sinister. Alleged text messages between Cam and an unidentified industry friend discussing a plan to leak something. Spicy to harm Jim's reputation before a significant business deal. The worst part? Cam hasn't denied the texts. Which raises the question, did he actually do it? Why isn't he defending himself? Why remain silent while your name is being dragged through digital hell? Or perhaps, Cam knew this day would come and was prepared to burn it all down. Just when we thought it was over, if those texts are real, this is career sabotage, not just petty drama. Just when Jim Jones believed he had revealed every secret Cam might be concealing, new layers of treachery began to surface. Like a web of deceit, the text messages were real, but this is where it gets really crazy. According to people familiar with the matter, these purported exchanges between Cam and an unnamed industry insider paint a far darker picture. In them, Cam discusses not only destroying Jim's brand with a single video leak, but also organizing a full-blown smear campaign to damage his reputation. The alleged message from Industry One read, "The right amount of dirt can break him down. Let's hit him where it hurts. His woman, his money, his fans." That's right, his woman, his money, his fans. All the things Jim Jones holds dear were now tools in Cam's twisted game of revenge. It also said this industry friend allegedly told Cam to keep it low-key. But Jim's Instagram Live didn't just change the game, it completely changed the conversation. It was no longer just about a video. It was about Dipset's entire legacy. The public's opinion of the crew was about to suffer greatly, with both fans and industry insiders beginning to wonder if all those years of loyalty were just a botched business deal. Let's step back for a moment. If Cam really did leak that video as part of a larger plan to destroy Jim, it would be one of the most calculated moves in hip-hop history. Everyone became a detective. Is Cam behind this? Was he trying to push Jim out of Dipset all along? Could this be his play to regain control of the group? History will judge, because removing a brother through the most personal betrayals damages not only his career but also his life. And Cam's silence? That just fanned the flames. As fans dug into Cam's past, unsettling trends emerged. A viral Twitter thread highlighted how Cam wasn't just known for making hits. He was also known for making enemies. If you crossed him, you were done. His silent treatment? That was his power move. Because when Cam went quiet, it meant he had already won, and the world would soon turn upside down. Shockwaves spread across the internet after fans unearthed old photos of Cam with other rappers, former friends who were discarded once they were no longer useful. And the leaks? They didn't stop with Chrissy's video. We're talking photos, private messages, financial documents, all leaked to various bloggers and shady outlets who were more than willing to spread the rumors. And who was behind these leaks? You guessed it. Someone working against Jim while Cam watched it unfold like a TV show. An unidentified third party connected to both Jim and Cam, we'll call this person the puppet master, was allegedly orchestrating the chaos. This puppet master allegedly contacted both Jim and Cam separately, offering exclusive interviews and even trying to set up a reunion between the two. But here's the catch. They wanted control of the story. They wanted to monetize the conflict. They wanted to turn pain into a public spectacle. Their goal? To intensify the conflict to the point where reconciliation would be impossible. So who's really pulling the strings? Is it Cam, Jim, or the puppet master? One thing's for sure. The fallout is impacting not only their friendship, but their legacies, their music, their reputations, and their lives. And we haven't even scratched the surface. So here we are, at the end of an incredible and tragic chapter, where the destruction isn't just personal, it's cultural. It's not just about Jim and Cam anymore. It's about the entire culture of loyalty, betrayal, and ambition that fuels the hip-hop world. And when we say public, we mean explosive. Because when two legends split in the most disastrous way possible, the entire industry trembles. The financial consequences of this betrayal hit harder than any lyric or diss track ever could. Sources. Close to both Cam and Jim, those who had once profited from their business ventures, began leaking stories. As the feud escalated, so did the money losses. You might think it's all rumors, but these reports are coming from insiders, publicists, managers, former label executives. The industry is hurting, and it's bad. Jim Jones, for instance, had multiple endorsement deals. One, a collaboration with a luxury brand, was reportedly placed on indefinite hold. The company didn't want to be tied to the scandal surrounding his personal life. And Cam? His attempt to restart his solo career hit a wall. Business partners were fleeing, unsure if associating with him was worth the PR catastrophe. Even worse, rumors swirled of unpaid contracts, shady financial dealings, and even lawsuits. One former label executive reportedly filed suit against Cam for financial mismanagement. It was clear now, this wasn't just drama. This was a legal storm rolling in. Complete with accusations, countersuits, and settlements, the music industry had become a battlefield. Then came the lawsuits, the real fallout. First up, Jim Jones. According to reports, Jim filed an official lawsuit against Cam for defamation. Charges including slander, conspiracy, and emotional distress tied to the leaked video and public attacks on his personal life. Even veteran legal experts were stunned by the suit's bold demands, which included millions of dollars in damages and a public apology from Cam. But Cam wasn't staying quiet this time. He responded with a counterclaim, alleging that Jim had been extorting him for years, using their friendship to embezzle money and manipulate influence. Business in the midst of all this turmoil. Legal experts predicted that this case could go on for years. With every day that passed, the public's perception of both men began to deteriorate even more. Was this the end of their careers and their legacies? This is where the real heartbreak comes in. The fans, those who have been there for them since the beginning. They are the ones suffering the most from this mess, and it is tearing them apart. At first, fans weren't sure who to believe. Some sided with Jim, saying Cam had crossed a line. Others claimed Cam had good reason to feel betrayed after years of playing a support role to Jim. The underdog narrative was in full force, but it became difficult to ignore the growing rift between the two groups of Dipset supporters. When the bombshells dropped, fans began to learn more about the story, and the more they discovered, the more their allegiance shattered. After the video leak went viral, even more leaked footage emerged, showing Jim's emotional breakdown, including one particularly unsettling clip. His only public statement was a tweet that read, "Sometimes the truth hurts, but it has to be said." No clarification, no apology, just a cold, calculated statement that only fueled the flames. My entire career. Is this how they really feel about me? After everything we've been through? Jim muttered, staring at his phone screen. On the other side, Cam remained unbothered and went silent once more. He understood the impact, but the longer he remained quiet, the more people saw a different side of him. A cunning, self-serving businessman who would stop at nothing to maintain power. Some fans abandoned ship, while others took to social media to defend their favorite rapper. The entire Dipset fan base was split, and the industry took notice. The more they quarreled, the less power they had. Their unity was eroding, and both men were to blame. The question was, could they ever mend the damage? Or had their actions permanently destroyed the legacy they built together? Now let's talk about Chrissy, Jim's longtime partner who was at the center of this entire feud. There was one thing fans were unaware of at the time. Chrissy wasn't just a victim. Rumors started circulating that she had known about the betrayal before the rest of the world. Some even claimed to have seen proof. Her name was dragged through the mud, and she faced public criticism. Whether or not those rumors were true, Chrissy's involvement only made the situation more mysterious. Was she really just a pawn in this game? Or did she have her own reasons for staying silent while everything fell apart? The worst part is, it's no longer just about the men. The video urged Jim to take action against Cam before it went public. But now, their families, reputations, and everything they had built over the years were at risk. The longer it went on, the more those close to both men were caught up in the fallout. Even longtime supporters began to distance themselves, afraid of getting caught in the crossfire of an out-of-control feud. At this point, we must ask, is the legacy Jim and Cam spent years creating now in jeopardy? It's not just their reputations at stake, it's their place in hip-hop history. However, the question remains. After everything that has transpired, is there any chance they will ever mend what has been damaged? Or is this feud truly the end of the Dipset era? One thing is certain. The story isn't finished. The final chapters have not yet been written. Meanwhile, the question of who will prevail in this epic struggle of brotherhood, betrayal, and broken bonds remains. And there it is, the truth about the Jim Jones and Cameron feud. A shattered bond, an industry fallout. But the real question is, who is at fault here? Was it Cam's betrayal that started it all? Or was it Jim's ambition and greed that sparked the fire?